Hello there. Today we are next to Raymond up at Cramond to talk about Jock Howieson. Behind me was Jock Howieson's cottage. Now, who was Jock Howieson, you ask? I've never heard of this Jock Howieson. Well, the story goes like this. One day, James V was going on his travels in disguise, as he usually did back then. He was alone, he was out his guard, he just wanted some me time. But then, whilst crossing Cramond he was set upon by muggers. Unbeknownst to the muggers, there was somebody nearby. His name was Jock Howieson, and he fought off the muggers and took back the guy who he didn't know at the time was James V back to his cottage. Once in the cottage, he gave the misfortunate stranger a basin of water for which to clean himself and had some time to recuperate his strength. They got to talking. He said, "Where are you after?" The stranger said, "Well, I'm after Holyrood Palace, I'm a courtier." And the stranger said to Jock Howieson, "You know what, you should come down to Holyrood Palace. You know, I'm sure the king will be quite pleased to hear that you saved one of his courtiers. I'll be the only one wearing a hat." And that's exactly what Jock Howieson did. He came into the palace, he came into the big hall, and everyone removed their hats, except for one man, the king. It took him a while, but Jock Howieson put two and two together and realised the guy he saved that day was King James V. As thanks for saving his life, James V gave Jock Howieson some lands for which he could set up a farm. Now, all of this was a very lovely story, and this being a history channel, I half expected you to think that all of that was true. Well, you're wrong. It was all a lie. A dirty, filthy lie! Believe it or not, this story was first found in a book called Stories of Grandfather by none other than Sir Walter Scott. There's absolutely no historical basis for the story whatsoever. This cottage here doesn't even date back to the time of James V. Archaeological evidence states that this ruined cottage here dates back to the 18th century. So pretty much everything I just said is a total fabrication. But this cottage here is still remembered as Jock Howieson's cottage.